says, I've got this really funny story, and it starts with, so my dad died. I was
my God.
well, that's not funny. And then he
start.
said that every week he would go down to the graveyard, and he would take a bunch of flowers and he'd give them to his dad. And his dad was a really popular chap, so everyone was going down there dropping all these flowers off and being really lovely. And the grave next door was empty, and no one ever visited, and there was never any flowers.
Aww.
And he felt really sad.
Oh my God. Yeah,
he
that's
started
quite
buying
sad.
flowers for the grave next door, and then when he read the headstone, it was like, 37 years old, and he's like, this guy's the same age as me, and I feel really sad. So for 2 years he came down and he would bring flowers for his dad and bring flowers for the grave,
Person.
next door neighbour grave, I don't know, what do you call it?
Neighbours.
Yeah.
And he would do that, and then after about 2 years he thought, I'll just have a quick Google search and see who this person is. He's like, that's why no one ever visits him or brings him flowers, because he murdered his wife, then killed her parents, and then jumped in front of an oncoming train.
Oh my God.
So he's feeling absolutely mortified, and he's thinking,
That's quite shocking.
so he's like, what do I do? I need to redeem myself. I need to do something.
Oh
So
my gosh.
he found the victims, and he went down to the graveyard where the victims were buried, and he was putting flowers on their grave. And then there was a woman standing there, and she said, who are you? This is my aunt and my great grandparents or something. Who are you? And he explained the story to her,
Yeah.
and she's like, that's a bit weird but really nice, that's really kind. And then he ended the story by saying, and that woman he's now getting married to because he asked her out for a drink. So it ended in a love story.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I was like, that's
That
the
is
most
quite
amazing
shocking.
story.
Yeah.
Starts
It
off
shows
with
what a
this,
nice person he is, though.
yeah, like
Yeah, that's such a shocking story, though.
Never know.
Like,
it really got to me when I was
Taken
reading
back.
it. I was like, oh my God, that's
That is bizarre.
yeah. I need to find
What
him
a
on
story
Twitter.
at a wedding, though.
Technology. This story
someone
I've
could make
never,
a
ever,
film
ever
out of
had.
it.
Yeah, that was
That's like
amazing.
that's like a film
Like,
kind of story, isn't
He was
it?
completely devastated when he learnt what this man had done and why
Yeah.
nobody had ever bought him flowers. So felt like he needed to do something. And he said he was standing at the grave of the victims, mumbling apologies to them because he felt so
Yeah.
bad for what he'd
Oh my
done.
God.
Yeah, and then he ended up meeting his future wife because she was the niece of the woman who'd been killed.
That's like good karma came to
Yeah.
find him.
It's
Yeah,
nice.
that is quite nice. Nice story.
Damn you, Blaine! It's because I couldn't hear it yet on the microphone, but yeah, no, I can.
Just the nice comments.
Does it basically sound like we're in an airport, even though we're not in an airport? I mean, from that noise, you probably cannot tell that we're in the most beautiful setting.
No, but you can hear
The water.
The water is fine.
Come on, hat land already. Come sit there,
You can still hear it, even I can
Weirdly,
barely
yes.
hear
I
it.
can hear it really well.
Let's go.
The plane is dying. Oh God!
Hold your breath.
It's even got friggin' headlights.
What? How else is it gonna see?
What is it? What does it need to see?
The
The clouds.
Yeah, but things getting in its way. They're all meant to have their lights on at night.
That's actually quite a lot of stars.
3.
No, there's about like 10.
I see 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, okay, I can see, yeah.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Are you sure they're all stars? Some of them might be planes coming in from the
So
Why can't we just do it with that in the background?
Because it gets really, really loud.
Okay.
Well, if you want to, carry on.
What, can you not hear us when it's going past?
Does it go, oh?
You can talk up until like this. From this point on,
Okay.
it's like
Too loud.
what does that remind you of?
Was that yoga? That sounds like yoga.
I actually
to
did
chant.
participate in the last chant.
I did
I
too.
did
Yeah,
too.
I went for it.
And
feel
when
like
I
she was
opened my
just
eyes,
interested.
she had a big grin on her face.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I made her
Oh,
happy.
she was really sweet.
Yeah,
She was
she
super
was. She was.
I think she was disappointed no one
was
participated on the first
humming with her.
She's lost the plot.
What does that even mean?
What number drink are you on, Jack?
This is actually technically.
Technically.
Number 20?
Well, let's see. I did have that mojito
You have so much
before lunch.
outtake stuff there.
And then I had a mojito after lunch.
I think they're actually called breakfast mojitos.
Yeah, and apparently in Ibiza it's okay.
It's the fact that you asked the waiter for his permission. You went, I think I'd like a mojito. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And he was like, yes. And,
like, well,
and you were
some
like,
places
is
won't-
it too early? And he actually looked at his watch and he went, this is Ibiza, I've seen everything.
It was only 11:15 anyways. It was fine. By the time I got it, it was at least 11:30.
It was midday somewhere in the world.
Yeah. And it was a very good mojito, which is why I had a second.
I love you,
Baby, and if it's quite alright, I love you, baby.
La 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 la.
Trust in me and I'll say, oh, pretty baby.
Awful. That's all I have to say to that.
I'm pretty sure it's your
You were
headphones.
singing
though.
too.
I said we.
We're not a choir.
Bloody hell.
There goes a gap, and then they stop, and then they start.
That was a really short gap though, no?
Yeah, and then there's another like 10-minute gap. And
Isn't it getting late? Shouldn't there be less flights at this
feel
time
like
rather
there's
than more?
They're trying to probably get as many.
Cram them all in.
They're probably trying to get them all in before 12. Oh, that's not my watch. I reckon they're trying to get
Our
them all in
neighbours are
before
out
12.
Well, maybe we won't do this on the balcony again then.
You all sound like little hamsters.
Do hamsters eat sunflower seeds?
Yes. My hamster, I used to have sunflower seeds.
Really?
Yeah.
But like,
I thought it was
Not
budgies.
salted.
no, it's in, but without
Yeah,
the
with the
shell.
shell, with the
Oh, with the shell.
He knows what to do. He knows.
Can you hear it? Is it gone?
Yeah.
That's gone.
Oh,
This one wouldn't open. I thought, yeah, I was crunching. That was the wrong decision.
Oh, was it a bad one?
can we talk?
No, it wasn't. It just wouldn't open. So I just thought, "Arr," and arr didn't help.
Can we talk?
Not yet.
Can I talk?
I'll
Can
tell
I
you when
talk?
you can
Now?
Now,
Are we there yet?
yeah.
It needs to land
Are we
in
there yet?
Zimbabwe before we could talk.
do. You can talk.
More sound than usual.
We put them there just to taunt you. Just to be like, I'm here.
So
You
should
want me, but
Should
you're
we all
not
get a
allowed to
biscuit
eat
and
me.
like eat into the microphone just to wind Uzma up?
Yeah, since we've like
Since I've,
since
started
you've,
making
like,
noises.
yeah.
Are you recording now?
Yeah.
It's been recording the whole time.
She can cut the. Stop swearing.
Yeah, she'll cut these.
I say shit all the time, it's fine.
I was advised I can swear in Polish. I can swear in Portuguese as well.
As long as you teach us.
I've got one side, and my first side when we've got Polish contractors, I was really, really happy.
Oh.
But each time I go to the side, I just go around, stop swearing, stop swearing, stop swearing. Everyone swears.
Yeah.
You're just telling them off.
Tell me about it.
No, that's fine if you don't move.
God, look at you! You're like, get your elbows off the table. Okay, Mum.
You're touching the table.
I know, practice what you preach.
Listen to your elders.
The worst thing I've ever done, so this young person, you terrible young people, and they just kind of came rushing up to the door, literally like slid in front of me, the door opened, and he just walked straight in. I grabbed the back of his hood and pulled him right back out again.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, what the
So when you said you got a bit crampy.
No,
that is what we call going postal.
management. I was like,
wow.
no way, what the hell are you doing?
You know what? You're the bomb.
Yeah, no, he's lucky I didn't slap him in one as well. Your parents didn't teach you, let me teach you.
I remember, so when I was working in New Zealand, I used to work in Wellington, and I lived on the coast, so it's about an hour journey, and we had these trains that we used to catch, and you could fit 2 people, then small, and then there were only 2, and they had the little slidey windows, and there was this woman sat there, and I think she must have been cold, so she shut the window, and the man sat behind her, opened the window, and then she shut the window, and then he opened the window for an hour. These 2 were like the window. Everyone around was laughing. This is pre-mobile phone, so I do not have any footage of it. I'm just thinking, oh my god, like, and it's not like there wasn't empty seats like in other places. Boom, 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 boom with the window.
Could have tried to do a bit sly, like off open, she's not going to notice. Like, do really, like...
No, but then they
Buses a
started,
lot.
then
I
they
see that
started
buses.
getting pissed at each other, so the opening became more aggressive. Boom! And he'd go, boom!
Were they making noises? Well,
It's a game of tennis. Were you the umpire just sat looking?
Everyone in the couch was like, oh my god, what is going to happen? Like, who is going to snap first? For a whole hour they continued this ridiculous back and forth game. It was hilarious.
Wow.
That was about, clearly 20 years ago. I still remember that. It was hilarious.
No, I get into verbal altercations with people on trains and buses and stuff. I get like profusely angry. Like, honestly, like ridiculously. Someone does something and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I get really mad, like outrageously. I'm surprised I haven't been like arrested on the underground so far. What's your angry lady?
I think I'm more similar
got
to
nicked
you,
last
'cause
week.
I don't like getting off when you get off the train and the platform was relatively empty. There's a lot of people coming off, and the guy decided to stand in the middle of the doors.
Oh my
And
god, I hate
understood.
that.
I was at the front. There was like 6-7 people getting off. So like he didn't move. So I kind of forcefully just kind of walked through him, and then he got a bit annoyed and turned around. But the thing is, you shouldn't be stood in the middle of the bloody
But
doors.
you know what I do is I just say, "Can you move, please?" I get really I'm like, "Can you move out the way?" There's people here trying to get on.
See,
Like,
but it's
move
because
the fuck
your
out the way.
generation calls, who would text him and be like,
You will take an emoji. Normally I don't get mad at people. 'Cause,
You are very zen. I'm
Eve
the
keeps telling me I'm
opposite.
very zen. But I was going through the turnstiles at Balham, and my card didn't. You know how sometimes it just doesn't register your card when you go through. So I had to step back, and I stepped on this guy's foot. And he's like, and he started getting really aggressive at me. And I turned around and said, well, you shouldn't have been right up my fucking ass then, should you? And he went, oh, sorry.
Oh, wow.
I don't normally get really angry, but
Just
I
comes
did.
out in one big
Yeah, I just came out in a big rage.
But London is quite an aggressive place to travel anyway.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
whether you're on a bike or a train or a car,
Everyone's
like
so
every
moody,
single form
yeah.
of transport is the worst. You're
Yeah.
just better off just not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I was going to say walking, then I realised this
Yeah.
conversation started with walking. So don't walk.
Yeah. For example, when I cycle, so many people don't look when they cross. Like, especially they don't cross cross path, so they just cross another road. And I think because the concept if there is a car I can hear it, then I'm not gonna look. Or I'm gonna look, then I can't see anyone right now, so I'm gonna cross while I look at my phone because there wasn't someone 3 seconds ago. I'm like,
But cyclists go to red lights and that really gets
Yeah,
to
I'm
get
not
annoyed
really
with that.
feeling much sympathy for cyclists.
Yeah.
but I think
I think
it
they're a
I've
bit of a
seen-
plague of locusts really on the roads in London.
No, I
Fight,
completely
fight,
agree.
fight.
I have
Sorry.
sympathy for them in the
Sorry.
sense that they're helping our like environment to an extent, but I've seen a few angry cyclists in my
How
time.
Oh yeah, but there is
How
angry
do they
anything.
Well, it's better off him catching a bike than getting in a car
Yeah,
and
but
having
where
one
did his
person
bike
in a
get
car.
made, and how did it have to get flown
Well,
over to
yeah,
the
you
UK? So
can.
when we talk about like carbon footprint,
But
it's
the
like,
long
where
term
do we
carbon
come
footprint is less because it's mass produced, isn't it?
But what if
It's
the
sort of maintenance
cycler,
on his bike.
what if the cycler crashed into a car, dents that car,
I've seen
cycler's
that.
got no insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So
that
that's
car
happened
has
to
got
me.
to pay for the damages.
I think
Yeah.
cyclists need to have insurance.
Exactly,
Yeah, they
but they
should.
don't.
But then
They
you
don't.
have to
It's
have
not a legal
some-
requirement to have insurance. You can't have a car on the road without insurance. 'Cause if you crash into someone else, your insurance company will pay for the damages. Cyclist crashes into you, that's it.
They-
You've
I
got to
think
pay
They
for
count
it.
No,
as
no, I think the
pedestrians,
cyclists
so
will have
you,
to pay.
You lose. No, they don't. Because
Yeah.
I had an accident with a cyclist once when I first started driving. Osman was in the car actually, and he hit the back of my car.
You just need to stop driving.
My wheel came off. No, so he hit the back of my car, and there was a police car behind me, so I wasn't even doing anything stupid, and I still had to be put at fault because I'm the driver and he's a pedestrian, even though he's a cyclist. I'm automatically at fault, and since then I'm just like,
I don't know, because then there was that huge thing where someone jumped in front of a cyclist and the cyclist hit the person and they had to pay like
But is that pedestrian
£800,000. Yeah.
and a cyclist?
Yeah.
In that case, then one trumps the other.
Well, yeah, but surely if the guy had to pay and he didn't have insurance, it would be the same as if it was a car. Like.
But if it was clearly the cyclist's fault for going into the car gets damaged, and they've still got to pay for it.
Yeah, which is what I'm saying. I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a cyclist weaving in and out of traffic, and then he got really annoyed with us because there was not enough space on the road to give him enough space on the left-hand side to undertake, because that's where they should be, right, on the left.
I think the problem is there just needs to be more cycle lanes.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
I don't think that you should be having this, like, it's either cars or it's cyclists. I think there's no designated space for... I would much rather cycle if I could, but I'm scared of traffic. I don't want to cycle in traffic, quite frankly. I find cars aggressive. And I think they're extra aggressive when they see a cyclist, right? And some cyclists are even aggressive, and I'm not aggressive. I just want to...
I think I have to disagree. Next to my
That's
union,
all I want to do.
You've been to my union a few times. There's, I can't remember, is it Whitechapel High Street? I can't remember what the road's called. Yeah, there's a dedicated cycle lane on both sides, but there's also side roads coming out. So as a driver, you have to stop for two sets of traffic, and it's really difficult to gauge with cyclists because they don't slow down, they don't stop. There's no like understanding. There's no understanding between a driver and a cyclist of what's going to happen.
But you see, this doesn't happen in other countries, and it's because they have things set up. Even the cycle lane has a traffic light on it, a cycle light or whatever you want to call it, to stop the cyclists when a car's
But for
coming
Whitechapel,
out.
I can say that you're coming in a road and then you're going into another road, which you need to give right to because cars are coming.
General Assembly.
And then
That's Whitechapel.
all there is that there is a cycle lane before the car. But you stop your car, look, there is no cycling, there is no car, you go.
I don't think it's efficient. I don't think cycle lanes are helping congestion in central London either. I think removing an entire lane and putting a wider pedestrian path and a cycle lane isn't helping. I think cars are spending more time in traffic, so we're just releasing more carbon emissions. So it's counterintuitive.
Isn't it because there isn't enough of them though? So there's like a tiny portion of London that actually has cycle lanes. So as I say, I go back to my point, I can't cycle. Because unless I'm going to take that particular route, going from this particular place to that particular place, I can't just...
I think we shouldn't be accommodating an entire lane. I think they should just be embedded a lot better. I think cyclists should have to undertake some kind of exam where they have to be more vigilant about how... Like, the thing is that a road is made for a car. You can debate that all you want, but that's the main intention is high it's high speed travel though, isn't
it was actually made for horse and carriages, but evolution.
The car is, then you can argue horsepower, and that's what an engine is, and it gets taken from there.
I'm completely and utterly agreeing with you, Janae.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I completely disagree with you, Janae.
100%.
I like cyclists.
I think though the agreeers are all drivers, and the disagreeers are everyone that doesn't either drive a car or cycle.
Well, you're in the middle. What do you prefer?
I disagree with you. Completely disagree with you.
Do you drive?
Pedestrian talking.
No.
Do you drive?
But that's what I mean. I think it's because you guys drive.
So you just want to get around.
So I don't think any of us who drive
like
you drive as well. Like I don't think we're inconsiderate when it comes to cyclists. Like I will make sure that if you're going to overtake a cyclist, you don't put your foot down, you don't alarm them, you don't leave them in smoke or anything like that. Like I give them enough space, and I do it at an appropriate time. But
I think we should split the room into two, and we should make pan cards and start protesting against each other.
I think we need to start recording for next week's.
I think my placard would say, all the gear, no idea.
Mine would just say, deaf to drivers.
Deaf to drivers.
I think drivers, like in definitely this generation, like day and age, I think drivers are made to look kind of like inherently malicious and quite like negative.
Well,
like,
you're from
we're
two
kind of,
different generations.
but we're kind of,
three different generations.
I
I
feel
don't
like
think
drivers,
it's a generation thing.
Then it's not a generation thing, it's an ideology
drive a
thing.
truck,
I think
can't
drivers are kind of villainized on the road right now,
I would agree
which
with
is
that,
unfair because we're not all trying to kill
When
cyclists.
I'm driving along, I have 3 children in the back of the car,
Yeah.
wah, 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 screaming and yelling. They will listen to the radio's going, I have to watch out for pedestrians, I have to watch out for cyclists, and I can honestly say the worst people on the road, cyclists, then bus drivers. Followed close by cabbies.
I also think it very depends where you go. Like, there is roads where I'm like, these are people that go like 35 kilometers an hour, go to work, and it's like they don't care about anything. And those are insane cyclists, I think.
I think
Because then it's like
20. What's 35
80 kilometers
kilometres?
is 45,
No
50
idea.
miles.
20 miles.
20-ish, yeah.
20-ish
No.
miles.
Is
Well,
it?
that's quite slow.
What did you say?
Oh.
35 kilometres.
Then maybe more. I don't know. I've no idea.
Wait.
Well, no, 35.
Yeah, because 8 kilometres is 5 miles. That's the closest.
Wait.
I mean, I think that
Anyway,
my
they
point
go
was.
Do you mean
my
like
point
fast or
was-
slow?
They go fast.
They go fast, right?
Like, they go fast in the sense that, like, they're almost a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In their idea of how they
The difference
got on the road as
between
well.
that is though that people who drive a vehicle actually have to have a license.
And you
Yeah.
pay money.
Yeah.
Cyclists
We
don't
pay
have
money for the
license.
roads
I
that
mean,
you're
I guess-
using.
Then what about all these people on the
Sorry.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Road
My
tax.
point is that
We
I'm
actually
not
pay insurance.
anti-drivers, so you misunderstood. I'm not anti-cars.
You said
I-
deaf to drivers.
I was trying to be funny, but
Trying to rile it up.
I just think that there should be more cycle lanes. That's all I'm saying. To give the cyclists that space to do what they're supposed to do within their own lane, hence not bothering where you guys are.
Well, why can't you
right?
go on a pavement
You know,
then?
this
If they
will-
class as pedestrians,
this-
get on a pavement.
No,
Well,
but
No,
then,
then they'll knock you all over.
Yeah.
Cyclists
they'll
do
knock
go
you
on
Sounds like a
pavement.
pedestrian
Some
problem.
cyclists on
But
pavement
you're not
in
actually
some
allowed to
areas.
be-
But you're not allowed to.
Yeah, you're
But
not
I
allowed
always
to cycle on
think,
pavement
like-
because
anymore.
there are countries where that works, you know. So clearly
Yeah.
that can be done. It's
As a
just that it's
separate
not
lane.
I
done
think
here.
the problem
so.
here, I think sometimes in London, is everybody is a VIP.
Hmm.
Everybody has that. I'm a VIP. I'm more important than you. They're
Yep.
not watching out for what's going on, and everyone's quite aggressive.
Yeah.
And you always have to fight for what you need,
Yeah.
and fight for where you're getting, and fight for how you're going to get there, and fight the
That is
traffic,
I think
and
London,
fight
yeah.
the commute. So, and that
Life is
causes
aggressive, those
that
days.
causes that kind of environment.
I mean, I'm obviously the number one contributor to that aggression, you know,
Really
like,
people by the
yeah, you got on the train first, get the
Basically-
fuck out.
Basically assaulting people.
But if you had the choice, I've had this like dilemma a few times where like you can either drive somewhere or you can catch public transport, and they're both relatively busy periods, and you know you're going to have to go through central. What would you choose?
I
if you
wouldn't
had
choose
both?
either, that's what I'm saying.
It's
if
hard.
there was a cycle lane, I would
Because
fucking cycle.
like within that situation though, because like catching public transport, you've got all the problems with public transport that we've spoken about, and the fact that it's
Delays.
stuffy and there's delays, and you can't rely on it, and you can't get
I'm
a seat.
telling
You
you
can't.
what my choice would be. You just don't want to accept it. You know that I have
But that
walked.
choice is impractical.
I have
for me.
Who's going to
To
pay for these
Oxford
cycle lanes?
Street.
Our road tax.
I have walked. Oh, you pay for everything else, right? So
Oh, so we've
paying
got to
for
pay for
something.
yours as well.
But what do you mean yours?
Yeah,
you
like yours
ride a bike as well.
Who says I can?
I'm
You
not
judge
gonna
me.
be. No one's gonna. Kids being
I know that my
kids.
dad and his siblings used to always like play a lot of pranks on their parents. I mean, we never did that. I don't know if it's still much of a thing, but like they'd put chocolate at the end of his slippers that he always wore, so then it slowly melts and like, stuff like that.
Yeah, we did stuff like that. Great. I have 2 brothers, and we were like pranksters the whole time. Yeah.
A friend of mine, she's got.
Didn't have that.
We were well behaved in public though. I remember
So
I
no
think
one
you've spoken
believed
to my
the
mum about
parents.
this. Yeah, like we're generally quite well behaved.
I was like that though. I was like the class boffin, as well as being best friends with all the bullies in class. So I had a very weird persona. Like no one knew
You'd
that
fit
I
like
was
the
the class
Godfather,
Nice.
isn't it?
I never shared my
Clean
grades
hands.
with anyone. So people just thought, oh, she probably gets okay
You just say
grades.
E in a weird way and it sounds, you know,
Yeah.
or A in a weird way and
Yeah.
it sounds like E.
So people didn't realise, like, you know, that I actually got good grades, and I was really good friends with all the bullies, and but the teachers loved me because I was really good, like
In
in
school,
my
yeah.
classes. But I got up to all kinds of crazy shit. So one year, our science teacher brought in this ant farm to just show us, like, obviously this ant farm thing. And me and my best friend Bobby, we had keys to the science lab because I was such a boffin.
Wow.
I used to clean the science lab on a Monday evening after school secretly without anyone
You're
knowing
living
about
two
it.
lives here, yeah.
Exactly. In exchange for free science lessons. And my teacher loved the fact that I liked science so much. So he happily stayed behind, and we didn't even do any cleaning half the time. You know, he would stay behind, and I think he found it exciting that someone wanted to know more. And he'd take out all these like things and show me where the
And you were
planets were,
interested.
and I was like, wow, I want to be an astronaut. And we had these kind of crazy conversations, and you know, it was great fun. So, and then I used to skateboard into school for a while. So he gave me a key to the science lab so I could put my skateboard in the science lab so it wouldn't get stolen. So I took advantage of this and convinced Bobby we should break into the science lab at lunchtime, take the ant farm, and tip it out into. We had a long jump
Oh my
thing.
god.
So these were
We-
fire ants, right?
Yes, tip them out into the sand, and then just fill the the ant farm contraption back up with just clean sand and put it there, and hope no one notices. So that is exactly what we did, and then we sat with our crisps and our chocolates at the other end of the like the field, waiting for the girls to come out for their PE lesson, and they came out at first like nothing happened. So we were like, oh, this is boring, nothing's happening. This plan failed. So we went into class, and our classroom's overlooking the field, and I kept looking over, and suddenly, obviously, I don't know, maybe they were deep in, so it took a while for them to come out. All you could see was these girls running, jumping, screaming, running off, and then the teacher going, what the fuck is wrong with you today? Like, and telling everyone.
Put fire ants in the sandpit.
At school.
For the long jump.
My
Didn't your teacher know it was you though, because you had spare key?
Eve would never do anything like that.
That's true.
How dare you even
I
insinuate
had
that?
secret extra science lessons every Monday. Come on, like I was the last
You're not the
person
usual
that
suspect,
would,
basically.
that would come to mind. For about 6 months, I was telling all these girls that there was ghosts behind the tennis courts, because you know you say something and then it was like wildfire.
To be honest,
So-
we went to the same school, and by the time I got there, that ghost theory was still about. No one went to the
Whoa.
tennis courts.
What
'Cause
a legacy!
everyone still thought they were ghosts there, and I was like, "You've
And
got
the
to
only
be
reason I used to say,
stupid."
the only reason I started that rumour was because I wanted the back of the I wanted
Boom.
that little area for us, right? So we could go around there, it's like quiet, we could get up to all kinds of mischief, basically.
More science lessons.
So I made this rumour. Within 3-4 months, literally nobody would go near this area.
Oh my
Everyone was
goodness.
convinced there was ghosts behind there.
That's
So
crazy.
even when they were playing tennis, they'd be screaming, and the teacher's always having a go at them. They're like, "We heard something. You know, the ghost is coming to get
Ball
us."
hitting the wall.
Yeah.
I was such a good girl at school. I remember I had to go to this, there was about 10 of us chosen to go to this mid-afternoon thing with the local health nurse or something, and it was like some sort of survey that they were doing or something, and there was about 10 of us. And I remember it was about 1, it was just after lunch, and we were all walking down the school. We had a really long school driveway. And I was at the, I can't remember if I was in the middle, and some of the girls who had been chosen were also were naughty girls. So as we're walking down, one of the school teachers is driving out. She pulls over, asks one of the naughty girls, we like completely interrogated her, pulls up and calls out to me, "Hi Claire, how you doing?" I went, "Oh, I'm good, thanks, how are you?" And she drives off. And all these girls are like, "I can't fucking believe that just happened. We were just interrogated." And I went, "Yeah, well, you know, pay attention."
Me and Lindsay are very tight.
And we didn't get questions. She just waved, said, "Hi, how are you?"
I had a similar sort of experience at school, like you though. Like,
I never got caught doing anything.
Yeah,
you
never
know,
got
because
caught.
I never got no one ever
Yeah.
suspected me, because I just had really good grades and I was like
We should definitely
really
make a podcast episode about
studious
this.
and you know just
I-
like little
I-
goody two shoes.
I coordinated a whole system for basically getting exam papers that we shouldn't be getting, and it was in a science lab as well. And then it kind of worked, and then it kind of came back as in the end. And then I remember if somebody else was caught cheating like a year before, and they got like expelled and suspended for like a week or something like that. And then I felt really bad because they knew that they caught wind of it, and people were like told off and stuff, and said someone has to like tell us what's going on. And I felt really bad. I left, came back to school that same evening. I said to my dad, "So you have to take me back and speak to the headmistress." I said, "Oh, you know what? It was all my idea. There's nobody else involved. Just give me what you have to give me." And she was like, "You know what? Because you came back and because you told the truth
Oh my god.
and you fessed up to it, I think you should just go home for the day, think about your actions. I want to see you in school tomorrow."
That's because she didn't fully believe you.
It's also because of that. Even though I was like the one who orchestrated the entire thing, just unfortunately got caught at the end. So
No, she
didn't work
didn't
out.
believe you. She thought there would have been more instigators involved. That's
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Or you were covering for friends. or
Yeah,
something,
she
or
thought you were
like
covering.
a small part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
you kind of had to, though, isn't it?
We had this awful, so 5th form, 15, I don't know what year that is over here.
15, age 15.
Yeah, I was age 15, so 14,
Your
15.
Year
GCSE,
nine?
yeah,
Yeah.
last.
So we had this horrible maths teacher, and no one in the class liked her. She was awkward and very socially awkward, and she was quite young and she couldn't really control the class, and she was a bit of a
Sounds like a maths
bit
teacher.
nerdy, and she was just and she would say things and it would be embarrassing, and she had a cat, and instead of calling it a cat, she'd
Oh my god.
I would
She
just
called
be
it a
like,
pussy.
yeah,
did
she did.
oh wow.
Like she had a group of 15-year-old boys and girls, and we'd just be like, laughing at her. And eventually, and she'd put your name on the board for when you misbehaved. Like everybody, including me, even I had my name on the board. Like everyone had their name on the board. And she had this pot plant on her desk, and I remember Dean Parker used to come in every day. I think it was him anyway, and he'd water it a little bit with a bit of terps every day. And this poor plant would die, and she'd be like, "Oh no, my poor plant has died." So she'd buy another one, and then the whole process would continue.
Oh my
You'd
God.
water it with like a little bit of terps or cleaning fluid, and this poor thing would die, and she'd just be so upset. And then there was a couple of boys we had these black wooden desks at our school, and they had a thing where you could put all your pencils and stuff, and the lid would close down. And one of the guys used to put his pencil case in the middle, and then he had Lynx deodorant spray, and he'd go round and round and round and round like that when she had her back to the wall. And then when she wasn't watching, he'd get his lighter out and boom, and it would just go boom. And she would hear it and smell it, and she would turn around and go, "Who did that? Who did that?" And everyone would be laughing because clearly it was very funny. But she could never figure out who was doing it. And it was a group of them would be doing it all the time. And
Dangerous
go,
game.
Yeah, it was bad.
I feel like teachers sometimes they're never paid enough for what they do.
I feel like she brought a little bit on it herself, but
yeah, but like you're also like Jesus, like your life must be.
Yeah, that's
like you come back and your plant is dead every day.
Yeah.
I would already be like, okay, cool, I'm out.
I'm done with this shit.
That class terrorised that teacher. They absolutely terrorised.
I think that's the problem though. Like if you get terrorized, that's it. You're down.
They picked on one thing and they just went for the jugular.
Are you hot?
I'm ever so slightly. Is it wilting?
Can we take a little button break that you can cut out? Is that alright?
Husband's like, well, we'll have to now.
So it doesn't look like she's agreeing.
Well,
Sorry, I'm literally feeling the heat rise up. Oh my gosh.
Stuck in one position.
Yeah, that position is fine.
Down to you. Should we put it on top of that?
Oh my god. Sorry, time to take a bit break. It's because it was dripping on me, I moved.
That's what the
That's
boiler's
why
for.
we stopped it. That's why we.
You might want to move because is it back on?
Yeah.
Oh, it is back on.
Oh, someone turned it
Someone
on.
turned it
Perhaps
on.
your shoes?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I think someone turned it
Should I
on
just
for us.
tell from
but
one
yeah.
turn it off? Should we turn it back on?
I feel like
We've got a fan, so it's fine.
I've taken my shoes off, so I'm gonna go this way.
What is it with everyone and their shoes?
Oh,
Why has no one got shoes?
You've got sandals on, you're alright.
Exactly. Well, you know,
What shoes are you
what's
wearing?
hot?
Oh my goodness, yours are definitely the hottest.
You've
My
got
yeah.
boots.
Boots.
I'm alright though.
I feel nice and cool now. I don't know if it's the air conditioning or the fan, but it's feeling alright.
I feel cool on this side, but that could be just from the water.
Slightly damp over here.
And it seems to be following me.
You got a damp patch underneath you, Jen. What's that all about?
Oh nice.
Can't put that on
You
a
know this
podcast.
is going to make it into the
my
special
God.
edition video.
Well, you know, it's you saying it.
Outtakes. Never heard before moments.
Well, hopefully, I'd really appreciate if you leave the bit in about the aircon dripping on me.
No, it's just going to be the bit about the wet patch
What
underneath
is
your
that?
chair.
What is that?
Osman's going to cut that out.
Well, it's mysteriously turned on by itself because there's no one other than Ibrahim, and he's not turned it on. So,
That's very
Oh, it might have been Summer in our office because Summer's
Oh.
there.
do you want me to let them know not to turn it on?
Maybe just
Yeah.
just in case they put it back on in the middle of the thing.
Yeah, because I suppose if we've just got hot, it's
They're probably hot too.
I've just taken on my
There's a
clothes
fan
off.
in there.
Apologies
Smart.
for the rather
Very
strange
smart.
outfit, but
Naked
Not care.
podcast.
oh
Naked
my god,
podcast.
New title. We should put that in the title.
not
The
quite
naked
naked.
edition.
Yeah, they're not quite naked edition.
Almost naked edition.
Is there any other specific things you'd like to talk about your charities?
No, not really.
So, do you guys want to move on to your other things?
I have 2 questions.
Oh.
I've got lots of stuff.
Mm.
Okay,
talk
well,
about
we
those.
might wait.
We have to wait for Usman to come back.
I have to wait for the dear.
Also, I
old
need to
truth.
refer people to your organisation, so I'm totally going to keep in touch.
The mystery is solved.
Hey, was it Summer? Yeah. Okay. They're probably quite hot in there. I should give her a fan. I think she's got a fan somewhere. I hope so.
Should we switch off this fan because it's cooled down in here a bit? And I
Isn't
don't
it
want
not
to.
gonna
We'll
just
get
fine.
hot,
We'll just
though,
keep it on.
when you-
She's happy.
But
Look,
you only normally
she
let us
would
do
have
this.
already
This is
complained.
this actually is a happy face.
Yeah. Believe it or not.
That does not look like a happy face.
It's
That
not perfect.
No, honestly, it's hot.
This is what Uzma looks like when she's overjoyed.
Oh my
I
god.
have a
Good to know.
dance. Good to know.
She does. She's got this weird
Oh.
jellyfish
Oh, I
stuff.
like it. It's quite stress relieving on the shoulders there. I like it.
Claire, go.
Okay.
Sorry, Usma just sort of like snorted some of her drink out of her
It's
nose.
wet for a whole different reason now.
Can I
Swallow.
Outtake. Can you swallow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Can I go?
Claire,
You can.
go.
Where should I just come
Actually,
from?
I have to squeeze in a second poopy moment. I'm so sorry.
waiting for
that.
Because this terrible thing happened to me last week. Well, I
It's
can't
not all
remember, or
about
the
you.
week before. And now that you've said trains, I can't wipe it out. I actually text.
You did.
Oh yeah.
I text you. I was going to a site trip, and I don't know what the hell went. What happened? You know when you just wake up and you get out the wrong side of the bed and everything just bloody goes wrong. I turn up at the train station. I missed my train literally by like 10 seconds. The doors closed on my face. And I was like flat on the window like this. I had to wait 20 minutes for the next train, so I was already then going to be 20 minutes late. So I text the builders and I text my clients, I'm going to be 20 minutes late. You know, sorry about this. They're like, okay, we'll wait for you. So everyone's waiting for me. I go downstairs, get a cup of coffee, and I'm looking at my train, you know, whatever. It's telling me platform so-and-so. I go to the platform, and I see my train on the list, and then there's a train there. And my train is like 1 minute away from whatever the time says. So I get on the train assuming that's my train. But no, it's the train before my train, which goes somewhere else. So I get on this train, and then I'm thinking, where the hell am I going? Like, the door's closed, we're moving, and, you know, there's all these announcements. I'm not taking that much notice, but at some stage I hear something, and I think, oh shit, this is the wrong train. So then this train takes me somewhere completely different. I get off at the next stop, and I'm like, oh my god, how do I now find my way back? Like, I don't want to wait another 20 minutes for another train to get back to London Bridge. So I take some alternate route, get off somewhere, but actually the overground station and the underground station are in two different places, even though they've got the same name. So I get off somewhere with a name to walk somewhere else, thinking they're like basically the same place, but actually it's another 25-minute walk to this alternate station. Get to there, and then there's another 20 minutes until, you know, that train comes that's going to where I'm going. By this point, I actually turned up about an hour and 45 minutes late to my meeting. And I'm messaging Uzma like, oh my god, you never believe what happened to me. I have my meeting, whatever. Everyone's a bit like, where the hell have you been? And no one believes this weird ass story that I missed my train, then I got on the wrong train, then I ended up somewhere totally different, then I had to do this. Anyway, and I'm messaging her like, you never guessed, like I was such an idiot, blah 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 blah. And she makes a joke like, don't get lost on your way back. I get on the wrong fucking train on the way back. Right? I swear to God. And as I'm messaging her, ha, that's funny, and I'm on the train, I'm like, shit, this is the wrong fucking train. You know, when you're like, how is this humanly possible?
Oh my
I
gosh.
get off at the next stop and I'm like, Uzma, I'm going to be even more late now because I had a meeting here as well, for which I was already late too. And I said to her, I'm going to be even more late. I don't know, just don't expect me in the office today because I have no idea when I'm going to come in, because I just realised I'm on the wrong friggin' train and I've gotten off somewhere else, and now I've got to figure out how to come into the office from here.
So you were just TFLing it?
I literally like spent the entire day going around in circles. Like, it was really bizarre. A journey that should have taken me 45 minutes in each direction in total took me about 6.5 hours of my day.
Wow.
And by the time I got into the office, I was just, you know, when you're just hot, bothered, annoyed.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah, just like it was really crazy. I missed all my meetings, ended up just with a really crappy day.
That is poopy.
But I had to slide that one in there because I just
I'm
could
gonna
not
just-
believe
I feel
on the
like
way
you just pooped
back.
on my you just pooped all over my poopy moment with,
You know what I'm
with
like.
your 6.5 hours.
Better out than in, it's alright.
Yeah.
You had to tell yourself off for this
Can I tap on the table now?
Do it and die, I think. That
My mum and her friends, they had a party at someone's house, and she took over all this sort of what she thought was mulled wine that she'd purchased. And they apparently prepared this stuff thinking that they were going to drink mulled wine. They drank it. They apparently got drunk and started dancing and, being stupid and completely idiotic. And at one point, she said she picked up the bottle because she thought, God, this stuff is a bit sweet. Like, how much sugar is in this? So she picked up the bottle to see how much sugar it had in it. And then realised it's non-alcoholic. So they basically drank all this punch, like just sweet juice, like grape juice essentially, like 3 bottles or 4 bottles of grape juice, and got drunk. So
they're on a sugar high.
Strange sugar coma scenario.
That sounds ideal. You don't have a headache in the morning, so.
And it's a bit cheaper.
Even you crash a lot earlier too.
Yes.
Yeah. And you might lose all your teeth. If you keep
And would they have more calories than wine?
Hmm?
Would it have more calories than wine? Do it into the microphone.
This has 21 calories. I mean, I don't know how much normal beer has in it, so I'm not quite sure.
And
if
it's
that's
quite a
lot.
little baby can as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had a picture of me taken with this
Do it into the
Heineken earlier.
microphone.
It's the best sound of the world.
I'm gonna.
So, she's like, I might as well make a load of noise. Okay, you can cut that out.
I'm gonna keep it in. Do you want water?
I think I will. You got a sweet.
Yeah.
You okay?
It's because it made me laugh. Normally I don't get the squeaky chair. Laughing and dancing around, and the next minute you can hear him go, Alexa, and it goes bling, and he goes, do a fart. So Alexa does this great big fart. He's cracking up laughing. He thinks it's hilarious. And then he must have asked another question, but I couldn't hear what the question was. And Alexa says, would you like to know more about farts? And he goes, yes. Clearly not really
There
knowing
is
what
more
he's...
information about farts on
And
Alexa.
then Alexa goes, would you like to purchase the Mega Fart Pack soundtrack?
Oh, wow.
Oh,
And he
God.
goes, yes. And next minute and this was like, we were upstairs.
What
so
the hell is the
we
Mega
could-
Fart Pack
we couldn't even
soundtrack?
stop him. We couldn't even stop him because we were upstairs. Next minute, my husband's phone goes, ping, £1.99. You now are the proud owners of the Mega Fart Pack.
That's dangerous.
Soundtrack. So I said to John, have you not taken the in-purchase thing off Alexa? He's like, I bloody thought I had. So he went in there and he took it all off. I was like, that is a really good job that the other two hadn't figured it out.
Yeah.
And gone, I will have 5 Nintendo Wiis, please. Bling. 155,000 Mars bars. Bling.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So the Mega Fart Pack is a 20-minute soundtrack
Oh my.
that gives you about 25 different fart sounds, and she'll say what it is before it does it, and then she'll do the
What
do
the
fart.
hell? There is
That many
actually a
different fart
thing.
sounds.
Apparently,
Someone's
I can
making
give you
money
a
off of
soundtrack.
this.
but that
Wow.
but that
Because that's another
soundtrack,
story.
that soundtrack is only for Alexa.
What?
You
Yeah.
can't play it on any other device. It's only for Alexa.
Someone's gone out of their way to make that.
Yeah.
That is.
Wow.
Well, someone's making money off
Yeah.
of that.
$1.99. The boys think it's amazing. They think it's the best thing that ever. They're laughing and cracking up.
I'd be chucking it out the window at that point.
You can
Cannot be-
disable it from the phone, but keeps them quiet. Listen to the Mega Fart Pack
But you just
soundtrack.
hear it in the background, it's constant.
It's like that for about 20 minutes.
Just make sure you're not on the phone.
There is also, you can also do the fart countdown.
Oh,
What?
no.
Yeah, literally. Countdown.
What the hell?
Next time you come over, I'll get the boys to
What is
show
this
you
weird stuff?
Doesn't it drive you mad?
the Alexa. It's alright.
She
Not when
puts
you
up
get
with
awesome
3
stuff
kids,
like that.
3 boys, let alone
Signed up
Alexa.
for it.
Yeah.
I think what makes me laugh is them cracking up. Like their laughter
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. But yeah, you can do a fart countdown.
Wow. We got to play that on Poopology, surely.
The fart countdown
Yeah.
and the Mega Pack fart soundtrack.
Oh my god. I'm
$1.99.
just
What
like
a
so
name as
weirded
well.
out with that.
There
with
is
that.
an app which I have called Night Recorder that you can put on, and it's sound activated, and so it will just record. when-
So you do not. It's
Oh,
what's it
no.
called?
Oh no.
Night Recorder.
And it just so whenever there's a sound, it records it.
Yeah.
So record all your farts,
I did
basically.
well, I'm not. I was pretty gassy.
Oh my god!
Just sure it wasn't
Because I
you
got
or
accused.
Susan.
Because I got accused.
Jamie doesn't look like he's happy sitting there.
Was it you? Was it you or Susan though?
Well,
I mean, does it tell the can it tell the difference?
you do hear one stage Susan go, "Oh God, stop it!" I'm asleep.
Stop farting, for God's sakes.
That is pretty funny. Peter.
Oh god.
Like in a soundtrack to take you through, and you got a timestamp as well.
So, what's it called again?
Night Recorder.
Night record. I'm going to record it tonight. I'm going to record it and see what happens. I'm not even going to tell Gerald. I'm just going
I
to.
think it still works on.
Do you get little achievements if you strike it on midnight? Or?
No, because of course it's obviously for more legitimate reasons than recording your farts during the night.
I reckon it'll just record my snoring all night.
Yeah, it does get that as well.
You
so
know,
can
when I
probably
was
store
21, I distinctly remember having a conversation with my friends saying, you know, everyone keeps going on about how beans makes you fart. That is so not true. What kind of weird myth is this? And I remember...
Beans make you fat. The more you fat, the more you
But
eat.
I remember all my
It's the
friends at
skeleton,
university agreeing with me, going, yeah, beans don't make me fart either. Like, this is definitely
Maybe
some
it's
sort
the
of
sauce.
weird, weird
I thought it was because
myth.
they're supposed to be good for your digestion.
Yeah.
But what I've realised is over the years, that theory about beans makes you fart actually becomes reality. Like, it just takes time. Like, in your 20s, that it isn't true for you. And you just think, what is everyone talking about? Like, so not true. And then you go into your 30s and beans make you fart. And then you go into your 40s and everything makes you fart. and then and when you're 20 and you're listening to like 40-year-olds going on about this, you're like, what is wrong with these people? Which is why your faces, are a picture.
That's so much to look
Yeah,
forward to.
but then when you're 40 and like we're much older, i.e. 60 or something we're going to be by the time they're 40. So when we're in our 60s, we're going to be like, oh, and by the way, you know what? When you start drinking water and you're 60, that makes you fart too. And you'll be like, no, like I know everything I eat makes me fart, but surely not water. It's like a weird thing, no?
Yeah.
I swear to God, as I've gotten older, like more and more things I eat, like just my stomach just can't deal with it. Like bread, just a slice of fucking toast in the morning is like an issue.
It's not an issue for you, it's an issue for the people around you.
How can that be an issue? How can you eat pizza and then be like, oh my God, I'm going to have gas for the next 3 days. I ate a pizza. I never thought I would ever say that. Ever. I pretty much lived on pizza, pasta, and baked beans when I was at university.
You're not
I don't
intolerant
remember
to gluten or
farting.
something?
I'm fucking intolerant to everything.
Are you?
Yeah, literally,
So
like
is that
everything.
not why?
Yeah, but I mean, I wasn't though. This is what I'm trying
Oh,
to say.
right.
That as you get
so she
older,
can eat dust.
I can eat dust. Yeah,
Dust and
basically.
air. With a bit of water and a sprinkle on top.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No more rice. No more anything. So life only gets better, Jamie.
Actually,
Lots of good
you're in
things to
your
look
prime
forward to.
now, so just enjoy it.
Embrace it.
You're basically at the best time of your life right now. So you should do everything.
I'm trying.
I did that when I was your guys' age, actually, and even a little bit younger. I basically did everything. I'm so glad I did. Because there's no way I could fucking do that shit now. Like, I can barely
No, you
eat
still
food
do it.
now.
You go solid, you still do it.
No, I can't. I can't. So I'm glad I did it then. So you guys should just like do it all.
That's why freelance.
Embrace it.
Mm.
Yeah, don't get stuck in the corporate machine.
Yeah. I'm avoiding contracts at all costs.
Is it quite difficult?
It was, and then I just persisted. Now it's good, but I had to work really hard to get it consistent. But it was worth it.
Yeah, it's difficult to earn money nowadays. It's harder
It's also
now than it
easier.
was before.
I feel like there's so many ways that if you're quite lucrative, there's like weird ways to earn money.
Like fart,
Like
fart,
making
whatever
fart.
machines that you can sell on
Exactly.
Amazon.
Mega fart
$1.99 at a
packs.
time.
£1.99. Thank God it was only $1.99.
But I think that's how people are making a lot of money now.
Just doing a lot of online stuff.
Yeah, like selling things online for a really cheap price. So people are kind of like, oh yeah, I can play this game, or I can buy this app.
Yeah, just sell it many times.
Or whatever, and they sell like hundreds of millions of these
Yeah,
things
for
for
some,
£1.50, and half the time you think, okay, this app looks like it could be good. I'm not quite sure, but it's only £1.50. I'll try it. You buy it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you delete it, but you've already given your £1.50, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, if there's another 100,000 people like you, that's £100,000.
It's the ones
So-
with the in-app purchases as well.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way to do it. Just incrementally, just chip away.
My friend spent £400 on Cooking Mama
Oh my god.
on her phone.
What is Cooking Mama?
It's some dumb game.
She might as well have gone on a proper cooking course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, how is it like a console game? It's like 50 quid, but she spent 400 on like an app on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They shouldn't even be allowed to
It's all
take
the
that money
psychology-
off you.
It's all the psychology of how they do it.
Yeah.
It's because
But
it's
what are
all
you
small
gaining for that
amounts, isn't
400?
it? It's
I'm
like,
thinking how much
They
film
want
I
that
can
instant
buy.
gratification to move on to the next level.
Yeah.
So
All
they
those
pay just
bloody
to keep
marketing
going.
people.
It's
That's
mad.
disgrace.
I wouldn't trust
Yeah.
them.
No.
Not even like 4
It was so no,
She
I really
literally
didn't realise
hundreds.
that it
was so
She
bad.
must
it added
have,
up to that.
though.
She had an addictive personality though.
Well, then it wouldn't have mattered what it was. would
She just
it?
kept going.
Because
Could
that's how
be
those
anything.
apps they're designed for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. She was sucked in. She was addicted to eating food. She was addicted to smoking weed, and Cooking Mama was another.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like she wouldn't have mattered what it was. She would have spent 400 quid on
Yeah, yeah.
whatever she was addicted to.
And she was working like 20 hours a week in a restaurant to pay for those addictions.
Oh my god.
And she was at she was living with me. She was one of the girls in my house. I lived with 6 girls at uni.
Yuck.
Yeah.
God, you're like the male version of me. I lived with 6 guys
Really intense.
at uni.
Yeah. Women are nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everyone.
I'd agree with that.
Present company
Disclaimer.
No, we
But
all,
when you
we all
live
have
with
like a
6.
level of crazy, but some people just have a higher level of
Yeah.
crazy. But we're all
That
crazy.
house was
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
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 And sometimes it'll just like have this weird peak every now and then, and you're like, "What?
I love
What's
to
that?
live-
What just happened?"
We just let it out.
I love to live in with the guys
Yeah.
because I didn't have craziness. Like in my
Yeah.
first year at university, I had to live in halls, which was all girls, obviously, female halls. So I was forced to live with a bunch of girls, which I really didn't like. They had this weird thing about dressing up the same. You know, they'd come to my room and they'd be like, "We're going out tonight." And I was like, "Okay, great. Do you want to come?" "Yeah, all right then. Where are we going?" "To the pub." "Great. We're all wearing skirts." And I was like, "Okay, good for you." And they'd be like, "You need to wear a skirt." And I was a bit of a tomboy, so I was like, "No, I'm not wearing a skirt. I don't like to go to the pub. Like, no, you know." They'd be like, "No." And I was like, "Why?" "Because we're all wearing them." "Why do I need to wear a skirt? Because you're all wearing a
Peer
skirt."
pressure.
Like, what the hell is wrong with you people? I used to think that sort of stuff was really weird. And then they disliked me because they were like, "Why do you always want to stand out?" And it was like, actually, I don't. It's you guys stand out because you're weird. I just like blend in with the other normal people in the room. Whereas everyone's like, who are these 5 other people that all look the same?
It's alright if you're going to a hen party or, you know, it's for a special occasion or something like that.
Well,
You
not
can-
just to go to the pub.
Yeah, that's a bit extreme.
No, honestly, every weekend or whenever we were doing something, you know, they would be like, "Okay, we're all wearing, I don't know, dresses. We've all decided to wear knee-high boots." And I'm like, I used to be like, "Okay, well, I ain't got any of those, so I'm just gonna wear some normal shoes. I'll see you later."
Borrowed something then.
I used to just find it really weird. I used to think it was really odd. I swear to God, I never understood it. I was like, why are these people so strange?
I feel sorry for my boys. Sometimes I'll come downstairs and I will just like lose my shit over nothing, and you can see them staring at me going.
Yeah.
I'll just have to walk away and go.
I dealt with a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll come back in and apologise.
Because in halls I was just put with all girls, and then it made sense to just move into a place after first year
because you already know the people. Yeah.
And there was like a scramble for places.
Yeah.
And then fortunately 2 moved out after second year.
Yeah, I didn't live with any of the, or actually stay friends with any of the girls I lived with in the first year, because I was just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, sounds intense.
So I just went and lived with a bunch of guys, and then actually every year after that I lived with a bunch of guys. So, and it was great. I used to love living with guys, because they were just like, really just normal.
Whatever.
Yeah, and very like, yeah, whatever, and that would be it.